Gentleman from North Carolina is recognized for 4 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I rise for the third time this year to oppose a measure that would summarily repeal our system of public funding for presidential elections. Once again, the House majority seems intent on dismantling the few remaining safeguards that we have against the influence of special interests in politics following the Supreme Court's Citizens United ruling. The fact that they are ostensibly bringing this bill forward as a deficit reduction measure in order to pay for a bill to undermine workers' rights is the height of cynicism. This bill before us today would destroy one of the most successful examples of reform that followed the Watergate scandal. Dare we forget what that scandal was about? The committee to re-elect the president, fueled by huge quantities of corporate cash, paying for criminal acts, and otherwise subverting the American electoral system. The hallmark of the Federal Election Campaign Act of 1974, enacted at a time when public confidence in government was dangerously low, was our voluntary program of public financing for presidential elections. To this day, this innovative reform stands as one of the greatest steps we have taken to bring transparency and accountability to our electoral system, and it's worked remarkably well. Utilized in the general elections by every Republican and Democratic presidential nominee from 1976 through 2004 and by John McCain in 2008, although in recent years the need for modernization has become evident. Perhaps the best example of the program's success is President Ronald Reagan, who participated in presidential public financing in all three of his presidential campaigns in 1976, 80, and 84. The Reagan case illustrates the positive effects public financing has had in both parties, at both the primary and the general election stages. It illuminates the way in which the system benefits candidates who challenge the party's establishment. It highlights the system's focus on small donations rather than big bucks from large contributors. Note that this is no free ride, no willy-nilly spending program. Candidates must seek the support of thousands of small donors during the primary to prove their viability, and only then do they receive matching funds. Today, one could wish, in light of the positive history of this program and prior Republican support, for a bipartisan effort to repair the system and restore its effectiveness. I don't know of any policy that better exemplifies the maxim, mend it, don't end it, than this one. Earlier this year, Congressman Van Hollen and I reintroduced a bill that would do just that. It would modernize the presidential public financing system and again make it an attractive and viable option for presidential candidates. Our bill would bring available funds into line with the increased cost of campaigns. It would adjust the program to the front-loaded primary calendar and enhance the role of small donors. The bill's been carefully designed and deserves deliberation and debate. Instead, we're faced with yet another Republican attempt to open the floodgates for corporate cash and special interest influence to pour into our political system. With confidence in government at rock bottom and the perception of government corruption through the roof, why is the majority trying to return us to the dark days of Watergate? Let's instead restore and improve our public financing system and move on to real solutions to put our nation's fiscal house in order. Let's not use valuable floor time to pass a bill that has no chance of becoming law. The American people want us to get to work on important measures to revive the struggling economy and put people back to work. So I urge the majority to heed that call. Get to work on passing appropriations bills, fixing the Medicare physician reimbursement, extending the payroll tax cut and unemployment benefits, patching the AMT and reauthorizing the FAA in time for families' holiday travel. I'm afraid these pleas are falling on deaf ears in this chamber these days. But we need to get to work on the people's business, not on this flawed bill that threatens to allow big money to play an even larger role in our politics.